Hey, everybody. Welcome back. My name is John. I'm joined here with Tess and Paul from PTZOptics. How are you guys doing today?
Doing
Good,
good.
thank you. Happy to be here.
So, it is officially the new year. Welcome to our pre show podcast for the PTZOptics show. Today, we're going to be talking about a new sneak peek into our Move 4K new firmware. So, before we jump into it and dive deep into all our great features, I want to have a little chat with Paul and Tess here and go
Little
over.
chat?
Yeah, just a little chat, have a little conversation about one, how was your 2023 and 2024 in the future? So, is there anything specifically that you guys learned from 2023, goals that you set out for in the beginning of the year that you kind of accomplished or are now trying to accomplish in 2024?
That's a great question. A little goal that I've set for I know Paul's with the writing.
Yeah.
So that's a big one that I've started to take on myself is
Oh,
journaling,
good.
but thanks to you giving me the journal. But also one mantra I give to myself a day is what's one thing I could do to better the organization in that work day, that day.
Sure, as
And
they
try and guide my whole day on that process, or at least if I've accomplished one core thing that betters the organization, then I've done my part for that day.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Paul?
That's amazing. And Tess mentioned the journaling. I've been doing a lot of writing and trying to be more organized with my notes because we get a lot of great ideas for our products, a lot of great ideas for collaborations and working with influencers and doing events. And there's way too many things to do in a day. So I've just tried to be very organized and detailed with my notes. And I even got Tess a journal to
You
help her as
did.
well. And I hope that more people do it because we only live once. There's only so many hours in the day, and I've become more organized in the past year.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about writing and how, your memory, I think, clicks in better. You remember things when you write them down more. So I think that's a great tool to use. Every morning you write something down, like in a goal, if you're trying to
Mhm.
accomplish something, or maybe your full year goals. It really kind of pushes you and motivates you. It's been quite a crazy year for me. I mean, I started here, a new job for me. It's crazy. It's been great working with both of you guys here and joining the great community at home as well. And I got engaged this year. I bought a house this year. It's been a lot of change for me
Woo!
Wow.
in 2023. So now we're here in 2024. So kind of like switching it over to PTZ Optics, what do you imagine like are some of the major milestones from the past year? Obviously, we launched a bunch of new products, but what do you think overall like our major milestones of 2023 were?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head with mentioning the new products. We launched a complete brand new line, which was my first time here launching an actual line of products. In my whole time here, we've been focused so heavily on our second generation cameras that this was my first time being involved in a brand new launch of a whole series of products. So that was really fun and interesting to explore from a professional standpoint.
Yeah, I agree. We worked on the Gen 2 cameras for over 5 years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so that just shows you when we go to the Move SE and the Move 4K, technology does move faster, but we need a good 3 to 5 years to really build on that platform. And so into 2023 and then definitely moving into 2024, it's really exciting to see the building blocks that the engineers build on top of. As many of our customers know, the new Move SE and Move 4K cameras have computer vision chips built in, and that's what allows them to do the built-in auto tracking. But that's really just the tip of it's very, very effective, awesome feature for a lot of people. But it's kind of the tip of the iceberg with what's capable with computer vision. So it's interesting going into 2024, seeing these foundational blocks that we'll be showing today on the live stream. Then it's like, oh, if you can finally do this, it unlocks these things. So I think 2024 is going to be a year of unlocks where
Mhm.
the engineers put in, at this point, a full year of work into the Move SE and Move 4K, even though we didn't trickle out a whole bunch of small firmware updates. We're doing a one big one.
Mhm.
But this one is a very much a building block firmware release that is going to unlock so much in the future.
Sure. What about like some of the maybe challenges that you experienced in 2023, either personally Tess or for PTZ Optics for you, Paul? Things that you learned maybe from not even a mistake, but just something that we could improve on, something that we learned from the industry that now in 2024 we can kind of carry on with.
Well, personally, this is kind of professional, but um, taking on the manager role, the management role is different for me, has been different for me. And managing people is something new that I've taken on for my job. So personally, that's been an interesting challenge for me
Hmm.
this year. And into 2024, I'm really hoping to finesse my role with the people management. So that's something that's, been a challenge.
Sure. What about for you, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Tess and I both work really closely together. But it's kind of yin and yang in that situation because Tess is taking on more responsibilities, and we've grown our organization.
Hmm.
We have over 70 employees now, and so for me, it's actually been a little bit of the reverse, where it's been relinquishing responsibilities and
Hmm.
trying to teach people what I've learned and allow others to grow. So almost the reverse, where I'm trying to allow others to grow into those spaces. And there's certain things that I like about my job that I selfishly want to keep some responsibilities,
I
but
hear
have to
you.
realize, like, I'm not at ISE right now in Barcelona. We're letting the appropriate people go there. And so that's been a a little bit of a challenge, because you have to let go of things. Letting go can be just as challenging as taking something new on sometimes. So kind of yin and yang there with you and I, Tess.
Yeah, definitely. Isaac here is saying it's funny because he's running an event today using 3 Move 4K cameras and a Super Joy.
Oh,
Good luck
nice.
on your event,
Good
Isaac.
luck.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us.
That's great. And I think that's a perfect time to talk about our customer base. We get a lot of feedback. We're very open with our customers. And, we have open forums on Facebook, our community groups, and many places that you can kind of communicate with us or our support team. So I'm curious, like, if you learned anything from our customer base, if they were, providing us for features, new features for our cameras, or just generally anything that we learned from our PTZ Optics customers. Tess, we'll start with you.
You'll start with me? Okay. We learn everything from our customers. Everything that we implement into our cameras starts with our customers' needs and wants. And we've created a really nice space online with our online forums, our knowledge base, and our Facebook user groups where we can communicate with our customers and get that feedback from them.
Yeah, we did transition between social media managers at one point, which was a
Mhm.
a little bit of a
That was a
challenging
challenge this year.
moment that I think lasted a month or two because and the reason why we learned so much from our customers because every week you're there, John, Tess, and I, the whole marketing team is meeting with the product team, and we're presenting what we're seeing in the user groups. And so today, I think, is going to be a very revealing moment where if you don't feel like we listened to you guys, you will see in the firmware 10 different features we're going to show today. Every single one of them came from the user groups, came from our customer requests. So I could go down the list, but we're going to save that for the show today. Um, I think we're not we use these cameras all the time. We're in
Mhm.
our studio. We use these quite a lot, but we're not using them all the time exactly the same as our customers. Now, every Sunday I'm watching the stream at my church and
Mhm.
we're using PTZ Optics cameras
Yeah.
there. And so firsthand I do get to see some of it, but some of our customers are in very much demanding situations. And so it's great in the user group to see everything from dating shows
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
cooking shows.
Yeah, absolutely. There's such a wide gamut of things. And Tess, you hired 3 people this year for the company. That was a big, big kind of step for you as
Yeah,
well,
our
going
team
through.
has grown extensively.
Yeah.
That's been both a challenge and a gift as well to our team, and we've been able to accomplish a lot more having these new teammates. You're one of them, John, and it's
Yeah.
been an absolute joy to have you.
You've been a great manager, and Paul, you've been super supportive. It's been really great, like joining the team and watching us kind of like grow and adjust with new people.
And
And
joining the show, how has that been becoming on-air talent?
it's been fun. It was really nervous the first couple times. I think like the more I do it, the more I'm not as nervous.
Yeah, totally.
Were you guys like
Yeah.
really nervous the first time you did it? Because you guys have streamed so much. You used to stream weekly over and over. At this point, you probably don't get nervous at all, right?
I would be more nervous about not being on camera, but how was it received?
Mm,
Yeah,
Did
after the
we
show,
what
yeah.
was the message? Are we doing this too much? Do we need to slow down?
you're
Can we
thinking big
keep up
picture,
with
yeah.
these things?
Yeah.
Less worried about if my hair looked right or what I actually said. So more about how it was being received.
Yeah, sure. What about you, Tess? Do you get nervous anymore for the big shows?
Um, I was nervous for Stream Geek Summit because I had a panel. So I was
Oh
nervous for that.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
typically, like on the regular shows, I don't get nervous as long as like we were really prepared today. As long as we come prepared, I feel ready to go.
Sure. Yeah. And you mentioned the summit. We have the Worship Summit Live coming on February 28th. So look out for that. That's coming soon. And something else that's coming soon, we might have a tiny little sneak peek at a new product. So, generally, is there anything that we can kind of look forward to from PTZ Optics, Huddle Cam HD, anything in the future that we could maybe get a little sneak peek at today?
I think so, Paul.
Yeah, so there is a brand new product that our team is showing at ISE from our sister company, HuddleCam HD. I think we were going to cut to that for just a moment. We're going to be talking a lot about auto tracking today. And I wanted to just briefly show the Simple Track 3, which is the predecessor to, or the newer version of the Simple Track 2. And this is a dual sensor auto tracking camera. And if we have a moment, I'll just explain this. The Move 4K and the Move SE are single sensor auto tracking cameras, and they do an amazing job of tracking. We're going to show it off today, and they're absolutely amazing. But the Simple Track 3 has two sensors. And I think if we have time at the end of the show, we might show the software. But what that allows you to do is get two video feeds, which is kind of nice.
Hmm.
But the wide angle reference camera has technology built in so that you can kind of have different preset zones. So when someone walks into a specific area, you can trigger certain events.
Sure.
You can have blocking zones, tracking zones. So it's really exciting what the Simple Track 3 is capable of. And I do think in more demanding educational scenarios where auto tracking has to be set and forget and there's not a producer,
Mhm.
the dual sensor tracking cameras tend to shine. And so if we have time, we'll look at that in more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have a new camera coming from HuddleCam HD, the Simple Track 3. Like Paul mentioned, it's similar to the Simple Track 2, but obviously bigger and better, filled with great features and cheaper than ever. And what you'll see with the Simple Track 3 are three specific zones. You have the tracking zone or the tracking area where you pick how far side to side of the zone that you would like to track somebody. You also have a preset zone, which is a zone where you step into. Anyone that is kind of moving into that zone will trigger a preset, whether that's turning on a light, triggering something maybe in vmix, switching a camera shot to that exact location of the preset. And then finally, you have the blocking zone, which is areas like a whiteboard, areas like a TV screen that you don't want to have tracking enabled for. So if a teacher goes up to a board, you don't want them to kind of lose the tracking because of the boards in the way or behind them. You're going to have a distinction and know when to stop tracking. So you're getting a lot of fine tuning when it comes to the Simple Track 3, and we'll talk a lot more about that in the future. But I want to open up wider and broader and talk a lot about the future of live streaming, broadcasting, and just technology. So I'm curious, we'll start with you, Tess. What do you think the future looks like for the broadcast live streaming industry?
I think we're going to continue to see a lot of growth this year. I'm very excited, in particular, for NAB to talk about new technology that's coming out there, not only from ourselves, but from other organizations. Remote production is a big one that I've seen, and I'm interested to see what happens there this year.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, very excited for NAB. In fact, Tess and I were asked to live stream and host the official NAB show live stream
Yay! So
with the
excited for
NAB team, which is
that.
always so much fun. Ryan Salzar from Broadcast Beat. And what that does for us, because Tess and I, many shows have been stuck at our booth, which is not a big deal. We like that.
We
Talking
love
to our
seeing everyone.
customers and seeing everyone. It's the kind of where people expect us to be. But hosting this official NAB show live stream, we go on like a rampage tour of going from this booth to this booth to this booth, booths that you maybe wouldn't stop by.
Right.
So we'll definitely, I'm looking forward to that. I think if 2023 was the year of kind of like AI,
Mhm.
2024 will be the year of like real customized applications that were designed for the broadcast industry or different use cases. So
Mm.
ChatGPT is amazing. How can that back end tech be applied to, script writing and things of that nature
Right.
that really
Sure.
apply to industries more specifically?
Yeah. I would love to hear more about your hosting gig that you guys have coming up, because when I went to NAB with you in New York, I felt like I was a mini videographer following you from booth to booth, going over cool tech, like Magewell and Blackmagic, all these cool little gadgets that we saw there. So is that really what it is? So you're going from kind of booth to booth, interviewing people, talking about the products that are at each booth?
hmm Yeah, we're interviewing industry leaders that are represented at different companies at NAB. So it's not just limited to our friends or anything like that either. It's a large group of different companies that we visit. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we just ask some questions about what the new gear is that they're bringing to the
Mhm.
show and what they want to share with us.
Does that like inspire you, Paul? Like to see new things in the industry, to like learn about what's coming or how we can kind of change
I
internally?
like it a lot. And one of the things Tess and I really like is that there's like a team with us.
Mhm.
So there's a video person, there's an audio person, there's a makeup person, there's a person on comms. So Tess and I just have to show up. We just show up, and then they give us a little ear monitor too.
Inner ear
So
monitors. It's so
Oh,
cool.
they
very
can talk
legit.
to us and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Ryan Brenneman from Maryland has a question for you," and they like whisper it into your ear. So it's another level of like high end production that's on the go, on the fly, live, and it's really interesting.
Shout out Ryan Brenneman.
Yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait to see you guys there, and I can't wait to watch you guys host. That's so exciting. So we talked a little bit about our customer base, how we learn from them. I'm curious, in the future now in 2024, how are we going to continue to kind of stay connected with our community? How are we going to kind of invite them in and have us kind of learn together, have us provided with feedback, and they get to get great new features? So how do we kind of keep that relationship going? We'll start with you, Tess.
I think with the forums that we already have established, we have an open line of communication with our audience. So just continuing to support them on our user groups on Facebook, on our knowledge base online, and then getting out to these shows and shaking hands and chatting with everybody face to face too.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of layers of opportunities. I mean, one is our sales team,
Mhm.
right? We have East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, international, internal, external. We've got multiple. We're growing our sales team, so there's opportunities to get live demonstrations and demo units and things of that nature. On the support side, of course, many of people know we have an amazing support team that is a lifetime support. If you're a PTZOptics customer, our cameras have a 5-year warranty, but they will support you for life, even if,
Mhm.
and they go as far as supporting with OBS, wirecast, the things that the cameras are connected to, even beyond the product, which is great. And we're very proud of that. But then also like the marketing team, give me a shout out if you've ever commented on a YouTube video. We respond to those. We
Yeah.
have an internal
Shout out Michael
channel,
too.
and Michael, our producer, will get the answer. And that's an amazing learning process for our team. It
There
really
he
shows
is.
how connected everybody is because everybody is chiming in. Oh, if they have this question, this is the answer. So literally try it out for yourself. Comment on any of the 500 or whatever many videos we have. Just comment on one of them. And I don't know if it will surprise you or not, but we will respond.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in many meetings with you guys and with the product team, and as soon as there's a question that we can't answer that we're having trouble with, we present it to them, whether they can answer it, whether it's a product feature request that you might have. We always present it to our product team. We always consider it, and we always pass it down the line. So we value that communication, and it's kind of essential here at the company. So I want to talk about even broader and talk about tech and like what you're excited about in 2024. And it doesn't even have to be AV. It could be live streaming. It could be outside of. It could be audio. I don't really care. I will focus on my obsession right now has been the Apple Vision Pro, which is their VR headset. It's like $3,500. It's ridiculous. I think what we're looking at is a product that not a lot of people need and not a lot of people are going to really understand just yet. But I think what we're looking at is like the first iPhone, where a lot of people are like, that's cool, but I have my BlackBerry. I don't need it. I play my games. I watch my VR video
Right.
on like, the Oculus Rift or something like that. I think when we get to like the third iteration, the fourth iteration, we're going to see really businesses buying into this and maybe buying it for their company. Instead of buying computers, they're buying VR headsets for people to edit in, to people to communicate and work with each other. I think it's like the start of that technology. So, is there anything that jumps out to you in 2024, whether it's like AI? I know you love OpenAI, Paul, and all the AI tools that you can get. Or what about you, Tess? Anything jump out to you?
For 2024?
Yeah, or just new technology, anything that's coming up in your kind of vision here.
Well, I know we have some exciting technology that we can't really talk about today that's coming out. So that excites me.
Definitely, yeah.
So there's definitely some things to look forward to this year.
Yeah, I mean, the cloud is really, really interesting,
Mm.
because basically a PTZ camera that's connected to the network is essentially an edge device,
Mhm.
meaning it's not on the internet, it's at the edge of the internet. It's at the edge of your network and the public network, or the
Mhm.
the the wide area network, the WAN. So there's the LAN, which is the local area network, and the WAN. And this area that's called the edge is a very interesting area.
Mm.
So imagine every PTZOptics camera is at the edge of the internet, and all you need is a cloud solution to connect them all, mix them all, produce them all, stream them all,
Mhm.
remotely control them, color match them. So that is very interesting to me. It's the cloud combined with edge devices. And I feel like so many of us have been talking about IP, getting IP connected. And we're looking at IP joysticks and IP cameras and IP video encoders. And all of that technology has been out I remember when NDI was released, I believe it was 2017. So we're
Mhm.
talking about 7 years ago. Um, and now that technology has been shipping for so long, the cloud is really, and then once you get to the cloud, then, immediate connection to APIs with a million things. AI is just one of them.
Yeah.
So like I know the cloud is a big term, but I think the broadcast industry, the streaming industry, Pro AV is very ready for a migration to the cloud.
Yeah, that seems to be what we've kind of envisioned, right? We had the G2 and we worked for many years to improve it with updates. And now we have these new iteration of cameras that are like power over Ethernet. Really simple. You can just plug them in, boom, connect them to the internet, and you're connected to like our CMP platform, for instance. So is that kind of how you envision the future? We're becoming less tied down with wires. Everything is really about the internet, utilizing the internet. Should we be concerned about like overuse of the internet, of how we're going to have this much data, whether we're like spreading this too thin? Like, do we need so many endless? I know it's such a broad, big question, but how do we balance all of these things, right? Like, we have so much going on with our Wi-Fi connections, so many devices over and over. I wonder like how we kind of like juggle all of these things, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a simplified solution to have all of these in one platform. And I think that's where we're going, right? Everything's becoming so digital. It's kind of like essential to stay up to that kind of platform and that kind of level. So yeah, anything else you guys see? Any other tech that you kind of see in the future that like inspires you, or that you kind of think about like, wow, that would be great to have in the future one day?
That's a hard question.
Hmm.
What do you think, Paul?
Well, I mean, I'm so excited about AI. I mean, the fact that you can just chat with it,
Hmm.
is amazing. And so I think that what's going on with AI, that it's gotten to the point of being conversational, that it is not far fetched to think that this year, if not next year, you could say, hey, get my cameras on stage 2, and just speak to it,
Yeah.
or just get ideas. Hey, I've got 5 PTZ Optics cameras. Set up all my presets for me and run through them and let me know what your idea
Or
is. Like
test
just
them.
automating things that might take a couple hours. And when you do that, it's not the fact that, oh, the AI just set up my presets for me. That's not the big deal. What it is, oh, now I can just sit here and just run through 3 or 4 scenarios and pick the one that I like.
Sure.
Because sometimes just coming up with the ideas and setting up everything is so exhausting that you only ever try one scenario. It's the one you came up with, right?
Yeah.
I've got 5 presets and that's what I'm running with. Whereas if it's so simplified that the AI can do it for you in a conversational manner, the cognitive load goes down and then the creativity goes up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like giving you options, and then you are still the decision maker. You decide what you want to go with and how you envision that choice, but it's AI is that tool that helps you kind of get to that final decision. I think there's one thing that people don't talk about when it comes to like open AI specifically, and AI in that regard, is that you can obviously integrate images, but it's free of advertisement right now. When you use ChatGPT 4, 3.5, whatever it is, you're not like inundated with constant advertisements. There's not constant images popping up at you, GIFs playing. Like there's something so nice about a simplified platform that's just text. You enter in what you want, it spits out text, and you're like, that's great, right? There's no distracting things going on in the page. I like don't want to use Google nowadays because it's so distracting, and the first 5 things it recommends are just paid advertisements. So I feel like we're in the early ground where advertisements are going to come to OpenAI. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I imagine in the future they need that kind of money, right? They need that ad revenue. I think when you look at like things like Netflix, they opened their ad tier plan for
Yeah.
years and years. Netflix said we were never going to put ads on our platform, and they changed that. So the market constantly shifts and it's ongoing, and things are constantly changing. But that is one of the reasons like no one talks about that. It's mainly text only, and that's all you really have. And there's something simplistic about that. There's less distractions when you go and talk to an AI bot in that way. So we have a little bit of time here. We have 5 minutes, Paul. Do we want to look at the Simple Track software? Do you want to wait for the show? Do you want to dive anything else on the UI there?
We certainly can, and I have it available for a screen capture if we want. I'd rather ask the audience if that's what they're interested in, because I know you have some New Year's goals questions to ask as well.
Yeah, sure.
But if the audience would like to see the software behind the Simple Track 3, I'm happy to show it, and I am prepared for that.
Yeah.
James says, work like a director by speaking the commands instead of pressing the buttons, and have the AI predict when people will be moving.
Yep, which
Yeah.
it's already very good at, the
We're
auto
already
tracking.
there, yeah. That's a great call to the audience. Let me know what you're excited for. The future of technology. I feel like we're right here. We're on the edge of it with AI, and we're going to have so many more tools constantly coming. I mean, even when you look at like GPT tools and how specific you can get with some of these chatbots, it's kind of incredible. And I feel like we're so early on. When I mentioned the advertisements, we're also early on with cost. Like it feels like it should be more expensive. When we're using OpenAI, it just feels like it's too cheap for what it's giving you,
I
right?
agree with that. Yeah, and I think they might be subsidizing the pricing. In fact, it's
Interesting.
free if you're not paying for it.
Yeah,
Right.
if you just want to simply log in. So, yeah, I mean, is there anything else? Like maybe I haven't really asked you many personal questions, Paul, but do you have any goals like besides writing that you wanted to achieve this year? Is there like something fitness related or something like overall for you that you want to achieve in 2024?
Well, fitness related, I am taking my health a lot more seriously
You
this
have
year. And there
been.
was no reason, there was no like doctor's note or anything. I just decided this year that this is a big year for my health, both spiritually and physically, and just self-care and self-health. Not that I've been neglecting it significantly, but I do feel very excited about coming in every day super as healthy as I possibly can be. So that's something personally that I'm doing. Yeah. And you mentioned that. I guess maybe you could notice a little bit, but I'm like out there taking a 20-minute walk or something in between meetings because I'm prioritizing that.
Definitely, yeah. There's been times throughout the day where you're like, "Did you know that if you write down, you're giving me like little advice for how to live a happier, healthier life," and I kind of love it. It's great. I love little insider bits like that. It's great.
We've got a
Tess,
question coming in from the chat really quick.
yeah. What do we see?
Is there a way to enable auto tracking with Bit Focus Companion? I've tried using HTTP and I've not been successful.
There should be a
Bit
way
Focus
to do
Companion.
that. And by the way, if you're using Bitfocus Companion and HTTP commands, you should be using the brand new G3 HTTP commands. So that was recently published.
Right.
I don't know how long ago, maybe less than a month ago. So check the brand new documentation in our developer portal.
Yep, that's PTZOptics.com.
And by the way,
Developer
John,
portal.
I guess we could mention quickly, if you're doing something cool with the HTTP commands,
Yeah.
we're having a brand new giveaway. Maybe you could tell us about that, John. We've got a
Absolutely.
minute.
Yeah, we have a minute left, so I can dive deep. We're doing a mini giveaway. We'll have some more information on the actual live show when it starts. So as Paul mentioned, our G3 iteration of our camera. So first it's going to come to the Move 4K, which you can have access to right away, right now. And if you go to ptzoptics.com/developer-portal, you will get to the landing page where you can find that API. So essentially what we're going to do is a little giveaway contest. We're going to be giving away a Move SE camera for the person that develops the best tool, I'll say broadly. So we're offering these API controls now and commands. You have 10 times more commands than you've ever had before with our API to the Move 4K camera specifically. So we're throwing that open and we're presenting it wide to anyone and everyone who has a Move 4K camera that wants to develop a tool around our API. So that could be calling, presets that you have in your switcher like OBS or vmix, or it could just be your own tool that you use to integrate with the Move 4K camera. So that giveaway is going to last 2 whole months. Like I said, on February 28th, we have the Worship Summit live, and then our follow-up stream will be in March. So March 27th, I believe, is the date, and we will announce the winner for our API G3 giveaway. So quick summation, March 27th is the final day that you have. So you have about 2 months now, and it's for whoever creates the best tool with our G3 API, and specifically for the Move 4K.
And I shared the link to enter that giveaway in the chat. So thank you for that.
All right, everybody hit the like button before we start this
And
stream.
subscribe.
It's time to go.
See you soon.